Hello, dear ones, and welcome to Believer's Bookshelf. Today I'm here to share with you one of my favorite books, and it was written by me. And this book is called Oh Lord, Forgive Them 30 Days of Praying for Your Enemies. And you know, sometimes people say you're not supposed to toot your own horn, but toot toot, I'm tooting my own horn. This is an awesome book. And let me just show you. I have read through this book tons of time. Look at all those writings in there, because even though I wrote this book in prayer and fasting during October 2011, I still read through this book for like another 8 months following, so that I could be completely delivered from unforgiveness, of myself and other people, and then actually learn how to walk in forgiveness forever. And it's not an easy thing. That's why it took such a long process. I know a lot of times people want to read a book like this and be like, oh, 30 days I've, completely forgiven everything, but it doesn't work that way. If it did, we would have so much less stress in our lives and people would get along so much better. But it's not that simple. You have to keep going in the process until the Holy Spirit releases you and tells you, okay, you have done this and you have come a long way. Like when I finished going through this process, one of the ways that I knew that I had done what the Lord asked me to, because he's the one who asked me to pray for my enemies, when I knew I was done, was because number one, I got my son back, but number two, I had a vision of, I asked the Lord to show me what my soul looked like. My soul garden is what, everything's filtered through. Everything that I experience, everything that I hear, everything gets, stuffed down in my soul, and for good or bad, and it either is growing flowers, beautiful flowers that are Holy Spirit tilled, or weeds. And so I asked the Lord to show me my soul, and he showed me this beautiful red farmhouse with white trim. Red stands for godly wisdom on the positive side, and white stands for holiness and purity. So the Lord actually gave me the yes that I had, learned to walk in forgiveness, and I had done a good job of forgiving other people from my past, forgiving myself from my past, forgiving, the things that I had blamed him for and things like that. So if you haven't gotten this book, this is definitely a number one book that you need to have on your believer's bookshelf. And the reason for it is because in order to be forgiven by God, you must forgive others. Remember, you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But God said, if you don't forgive, then I'm not going to forgive you. And it blocks your prayers. It puts a big black veil in between you and the throne room, so that your prayers may be going up, but they're not going up in full measure. And you need all the power that you can get. So you have to learn how to walk in forgiveness. It's so interesting. This is the journal that I wrote the prayers from that book in. It just started out like I was praying, going through this process, because the Lord said to get my son back and to have him forever and never have to worry about custody issue again. I had to forgive. And so this is the journal. I have the journal of what I wrote, those prayers. And I also wrote teach me your ways and hear my cry, and also meet me in the morning in this journal as well, because that's how I do things when I'm writing out prayers. I record my prayers on a regular basis, and it's a good thing because you go back and you see what all the Lord has done for you, so you got all these testimonies and records that you can share with other people. But also what it does is it's training. It lets you see how far you've come, and that's huge, because when you see you've made progress, then that inspires you to keep going and to go further and to do greater things. Now, real quickly before I leave, I wanted to announce to you that I am working on 3 books right now, and one of them is for it's the prayers that I prayed while I was waiting for my kingdom mate, and they were recorded in this little journal. The Lord gave me a 40-day assignment, so I wrote out those prayers, and they're powerful, so I'm putting those in a book, and you can pre-order them on my site. And also I'm writing a book for my son. I started writing it for him because he's about to be 13, so he's going into those teenage years, and I wrote some specific prayers for him, that things that I'm praying over him. So the book is actually for teens, for them to read for themselves in a month and to come into agreement with God's will. But it's also you can pray these prayers, read these prayers for your children. So like for some of the topics that are covered are, discovering your godly destiny, knowing who God is as your father, becoming a worshiper, things like that. And this is the journal that I have the prayers that I've been praying for my son for this new school year to be successful. I'm just basically ushering his destiny into the earth, and having him read the prayers as well, and I'm praying them over him as I write them. That's like coming into agreement, and it's a guarantee. The Bible tells us that James actually said, you have not because you ask not, and when you ask amiss. And one of the things that the Lord is saying when you ask amiss is that we don't pray the word And that's where we mess up. My prayers are effective and they get answered because I know how to pray the word. And you could say, oh, well, everybody knows how to pray the word, but they don't. And that's evidence because look at all the mess in believers' lives. If they knew how to pray the word and knew how to pray it effectively, then, everybody would be a lot better off than we really are, especially the church as a whole, because we have the power to bring heaven to earth. And yet that's not going on in great measure. It's going on in little pockets around the world. But we want that to go on in full everywhere. We have the ability to do that because we have his written and his spoken words. If you need help learning how to pray the word, any of my books will help you do that. They're all about praying the scriptures. I know how to get my prayers answered. I know how to pray the word. I know how to believe the word, and I have faith for it, and those things come to pass. So here I am, I ushered in my relationship that the Lord ordained for me. I'm ushering in this fabulous destiny for my child as he goes into the teen years, and you can do the exact same thing. You can learn how to walk in complete forgiveness. A lot of times people say you need to forgive, you need to let it go, but when I was needing to forgive in 2011, I looked all over for a book that showed me how to forgive my enemies, and I could not find one. I found tons of books, and they're excellent books by believers that said you have to let it go, you have to let it go, you have to let it go, but nobody actually showed me how to pray specific prayers for my enemies so that I could get my breakthrough and that I could walk in what I needed to walk into, for fullness and victory with Christ. That's what my book shows you. It's not just about telling you need to forgive your enemies. It's actually taking the steps to forgive, and those are the things that God rewards. That book ushered me into interpreting dreams. That book ushered me into visions. That book ushered me into amazing discernment. That book is a power book. I had spiritual gifts in me all along that were not exploded until I went through that process. So that book is for, like, if you have a legal issue, it will bless you. Oh Lord, forgive them is for if you need your spiritual gifts awakened. Oh Lord, forgive them is for if if you've got issues in your soul and in your spirit where you just feel stuck and you don't know what to do. That book will help you. It's all based on forgiveness. It's like, I'm telling you, it's got to be the number one thing. You can't even really understand the fullness of who God is because you can't get close enough to him when you have unforgiveness in your soul. That's real talk right there. Don't forget to visit me at zwriteswords.org and check out ZTV regularly. Thank you.